all seek a better life. We look for a spark to get us started on a new path. But what happens when that spark inevitably fades? Ancient wisdom offers a profound truth. It shows us a more reliable way forward. A path not fueled by fleeting feelings, but by a quiet, steady strength we can cultivate from within. This path is discipline, a gentle yet unbreakable force that can truly transform our existence and guide us to remarkable places. Lesson 1. Motivation is a fleeting spark. Motivation is a wonderful feeling. It arrives like a sudden burst of sunshine on a cloudy day. A powerful speech, an inspiring movie, or a friend's success can ignite a fire within us. In that moment, we feel invincible. We believe we can conquer any mountain and achieve any goal. This energy is real and potent. It prompts us to buy the new running shoes, sign up for the challenging course, or finally start that project we've been dreaming of. This initial surge is a gift, a push from the universe to get us moving. However, wisdom traditions from the East teach us to observe the nature of all feelings. Like clouds passing in the sky, emotions come and go. Motivation is no different. It is, by its very nature, impermanent. It depends on external factors and our ever-shifting internal moods. A stressful day at work, a poor night's sleep, or a simple distraction can cause this bright spark to vanish as quickly as it appeared. When we rely solely on this feeling to carry us forward, we set ourselves up for disappointment. We start to believe we have failed when the initial excitement wanes. We think something is wrong with us, but this is not a personal failing. It is simply the nature of this emotional state. To expect motivation to be a constant companion is like expecting the sun to shine without a single cloud. True progress requires a different kind of fuel. It asks us to look beyond the temporary high of inspiration and find something more stable, more reliable, and more deeply rooted within ourselves. Understanding that motivation is a visitor, not a resident, is the first step toward building a practice that does not depend on its unpredictable presence. It allows us to be grateful for the spark when it comes, but not to be lost when it goes. Lesson 2. Discipline is the enduring flame. If motivation is the fleeting spark, discipline is the steady, enduring flame. Unlike the bright flash of inspiration that depends on external triggers, discipline is an internal commitment. It is a quiet, deliberate choice we make, independent of our mood or circumstances. It is the small candle that burns consistently in a dark room, providing constant light and warmth. This flame is not as spectacular as a firework, but it is infinitely more reliable. Discipline is the voice that whispers, "Just begin," when the rest of your mind is screaming, "I don't feel like it." It is the simple act of showing up for yourself, especially on the days when it feels the hardest. Spiritual teachings emphasize the power of conscious, intentional action. Every time you choose to act according to your deeper values, rather than your temporary feelings, you are nurturing this internal flame. This is the essence of building a meaningful life. It's about deciding to meditate for 5 minutes, even when your mind is racing. It's about choosing to go for a short walk, even when the sofa feels more inviting. It's about writing 1 paragraph, even when you feel no inspiration. These actions may seem small and insignificant on their own, but each one is a profound declaration of self-respect and commitment. It is an act of kindness to your future self. This gentle, persistent effort builds a foundation of inner strength that emotional highs and lows cannot shake. When difficult people or challenging situations arise, this inner flame becomes your anchor. It reminds you of your capacity to choose your response, to remain steady when the world around you is in turmoil. It doesn't demand perfection. It only asks for your presence and your willingness to try again, moment by moment. This enduring flame doesn't burn you out. It illuminates your path, one steady step at a time. Lesson 3. Consistent action builds true strength. Imagine trying to push a giant boulder. On the first day, you push with all your might, fueled by a surge of motivation, but it barely moves. You feel discouraged. The next day, you feel less motivated, but you go back and give it another small, steady push. You do this again the next day, and the day after that. Each individual push seems to make no difference. But over weeks and months, through your consistent daily effort, the boulder begins to shift. Eventually, it starts to roll. This is the power of consistent action. True strength, whether physical, mental, or spiritual, is not built in a single heroic effort. It is forged in the furnace of small, repeated acts. An ancient path of mindfulness teaches that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We often romanticize the destination, forgetting that it is the accumulation of countless ordinary steps that gets us there. Each time you choose to practice, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. One mindful breath doesn't bring enlightenment, but a consistent practice of mindful breathing slowly calms the storm of the mind. One healthy meal doesn't transform your body, but a consistent habit of nutritious eating builds lasting vitality. This principle is especially powerful when dealing with life's difficulties. When you face a challenging person, a single act of patience may not change them, but your consistent practice of responding with compassion instead of anger changes you. It builds your inner resilience. You are no longer easily pulled into their drama. You develop a core of stability. This strength is authentic and unshakable because you built it yourself, piece by piece. It is not borrowed from a motivational video or a fleeting good mood. It is yours. This process teaches us profound patience with ourselves and with life. It frees us from the tyranny of instant gratification and allows us to find deep satisfaction in the process itself. Lesson 4. Discipline embodies wise effort. Many paths of inner development speak of a principle that can be called wise effort. This is not about gritting your teeth and pushing through with brute force. That kind of effort often leads to burnout and resentment. Wise effort is more skillful, more gentle, and far more effective. It is the very heart of what true discipline looks like. It consists of 4 simple, yet profound, practices. First, it is the gentle effort to prevent unhelpful thoughts and emotions, like anger or jealousy, from arising in the first place. You do this by guarding your senses, by choosing what you consume in your media, your conversations, and your environment. Second, if an unhelpful state has already arisen, wise effort is the practice of letting it go. You don't suppress it or fight it. You simply acknowledge its presence without judgment and gently withdraw your attention, letting it dissolve on its own, like a cloud passing in the sky. Third, wise effort involves actively encouraging positive, wholesome states of mind. It is the conscious choice to cultivate kindness, gratitude, and compassion. You might do this by reflecting on what you are thankful for, or by sending well wishes to others. Finally, it is the effort to maintain these positive states once they have arisen, allowing them to flourish and become a more natural part of your being. This balanced approach is what makes discipline sustainable. It is not about becoming a rigid robot. It is about becoming a skillful gardener of your own mind. You learn what weeds to gently pull and what flowers to lovingly water. When you apply this to your goals, it means you work diligently, but also know when to rest. You push your boundaries, but also listen to your body and mind. This wisdom prevents the exhaustion that so often derails our best intentions, creating a path of progress that is both effective and deeply peaceful. Lesson 5. Steady practice transcends emotional highs. Life is a series of waves. There are crests of joy, excitement, and success. There are troughs of sadness, frustration, and failure. If our sense of well-being is tied to riding the crests, we will inevitably be plunged into despair when we hit the troughs. This is where a disciplined practice becomes our lifeboat. Motivation thrives on the highs. It feels easy to work on our goals when we feel happy and inspired. But what happens when we feel low? when we are grieving, anxious, or just plain tired. A reliance on motivation leaves us stranded. A steady, disciplined practice, however, becomes an anchor in the storm. It creates a baseline of stability that is independent of the emotional weather. When you commit to your practice, whether it's meditation, exercise, creative work, or mindful communication, you are training yourself to act from a place deeper than your surface-level emotions. On good days, the practice feels easy and rewarding. On bad days, the practice might feel like a chore, but showing up is a profound act of self-compassion. It is on these difficult days that the practice does its most important work. It teaches you that you are more than your fleeting moods. You have a core of resilience that can endure discomfort. This builds a powerful sense of equanimity. You learn not to cling too tightly to the highs, knowing they will pass. You learn not to despair in the lows, knowing they too will pass. Your practice is the one constant. This is incredibly freeing. It allows you to navigate the ups and downs of life with greater grace and less fear. When dealing with difficult people, this equanimity is your shield. Their emotional storms do not have to become your own. You can remain centered in your practice, responding with a clarity and peace that is born not from a momentary good mood, but from a deep, unshakable foundation you have built within yourself. Lesson 6. Habitual discipline leads to profound change. Imagine a small stream of water trickling down a mountainside. At first, it follows the path of least resistance, meandering aimlessly. But over time, day after day, year after year, that gentle, consistent flow of water begins to carve a channel into the rock itself. What was once a shallow trickle becomes a deep, powerful riverbed. This is a perfect metaphor for how habitual discipline reshapes our minds and our lives. Our brains are not fixed and static. They are remarkably adaptable. Every time we repeat an action or a thought, we strengthen the neural pathways associated with it. When we first start a new discipline, like waking up early or practicing patience, it feels difficult and unnatural. We are forcing the water to flow in a new direction. It requires conscious effort and willpower. We are working against our old, deeply grooved habits. But as we persist, day after day, something magical begins to happen. The new pathway becomes stronger, more defined. The action that once required immense effort starts to feel more automatic, more natural. Eventually, it becomes second nature. It becomes a part of who we are. This is how profound, lasting change occurs. It's not through a single dramatic decision, but through the slow, steady, and often invisible work of building new habits. The person who was once quick to anger can, through the habitual practice of pausing and breathing, become a person of remarkable calm. The person who could never finish a project can, through the discipline of working for just 15 minutes a day, become a prolific creator. This transformation is not a mystery, it is a science. By committing to small, consistent, disciplined actions, we are literally rewiring our brains. We are consciously carving the riverbeds of our character, directing the flow of our lives toward a future of greater wisdom, peace, and fulfillment. Lesson 7. Overcome inertia with consistent action. Inertia is one of the most powerful forces in our lives. It is the tendency to remain at rest, to stay stuck in old patterns, even when they no longer serve us. It is the heavy, sinking feeling that makes starting something new feel like an impossible task. This state of being stuck is a form of suffering. It's the quiet unease of knowing you are not living up to your potential, the frustration of watching days turn into weeks while your dreams gather dust. Motivation offers a tempting but flawed solution. It promises a giant jolt of energy to blast you out of your inertia. But when that jolt doesn't come, or when it fades, you are left feeling even more stuck than before. An ancient path of wisdom offers a much gentler and ultimately more powerful antidote. A single, small, consistent action. The key to overcoming inertia is not to think about the entire mountain you have to climb, That is overwhelming. The key is to focus only on taking the very first step. If your goal is to write a book, don't think about the 300 pages. Just open the document and write one sentence. If you want to start exercising, don't picture a grueling hour-long workout. Just put on your shoes and walk to the end of the block. If you want to meditate, don't aim for an hour of silence. Just sit down and take one conscious breath. This first, tiny action breaks the spell of inertia. It creates a small amount of momentum. The next day, you take another small step, and another the day after. These actions are so small that your mind has little room to resist them. You are not asking for a heroic effort, just a simple, repeatable one. This consistent, gentle pressure is what begins to move the boulder of your old habits. It proves to you, through direct experience, that you can act, even without feeling motivated. This realization is incredibly empowering. It puts the control back in your hands, transforming the feeling of being helplessly stuck into a journey of steady, manageable progress. Lesson 8. Cultivate inner peace through daily effort. Many people believe that inner peace is a destination they will arrive at someday. They think it will happen once they get the right job, find the perfect partner, or solve all their problems. But spiritual teachings show us that peace is not something you find. It is something you cultivate. It is not a place, but a practice. The undisciplined mind is often described as a monkey mind, frantically jumping from one thought to the next, worrying about the future, ruminating about the past, reacting to every external stimulus. This constant mental chaos is the very opposite of peace. It is a state of perpetual unrest. The only way to calm this restless energy is through gentle, daily discipline. This doesn't necessarily mean sitting in silent meditation for hours, though that is a powerful practice. The discipline of cultivating peace can be woven into the fabric of your everyday life. It can be the discipline of taking 3 conscious breaths before you respond to a stressful email. It can be the discipline of putting your phone away during meals and giving your full attention to your food and your companions. It can be the discipline of a short walk in nature, intentionally noticing the sky, the trees, and the sounds around you. Each of these small, deliberate acts is a moment of training for the mind. You are teaching it to be present, to let go of its frantic jumping, and to rest in the now. Over time, these moments of cultivated peace begin to connect. They create a foundation of calm that you can return to, even in the midst of life's storms. When you are faced with a difficult situation or a challenging person, you have a well-practiced ability to access this inner stillness. Peace is no longer a distant dream. It becomes your home base, a sanctuary you have built for yourself through the steady, loving effort of your daily practice. Lesson 9. Wisdom emerges from disciplined practice. Discipline is often viewed merely as a tool for productivity, a way to achieve external goals like getting fit or finishing a project. While it is certainly effective for these things, its deepest value lies in something far more profound. A disciplined practice, when approached with awareness, becomes a laboratory for self-discovery. It is the fertile ground from which true wisdom emerges. When you commit to a consistent practice, you are creating a space to observe yourself. As you sit in meditation, you begin to see the frantic patterns of your mind. As you practice patience with a difficult coworker, you begin to see your own triggers and emotional reactions. As you stick to an exercise routine, you learn about your body's limits and its incredible resilience. In the steady, quiet space of your discipline, you are no longer just reacting to life on autopilot. You are paying attention. This mindful attention is the key to insight. You start to understand why you do the things you do. You see how your desire for pleasure and your aversion to pain drive so many of your choices. You recognize the stories you tell yourself, the limiting beliefs that hold you back. This is not about harsh self-judgment. It is about seeing things clearly, just as they are. This clarity is wisdom. It is the knowledge that allows you to make conscious choices rather than being driven by unconscious habits. With this wisdom, you can look at a difficult person and see not an enemy, but another being who is also struggling. You can face a setback not as a catastrophe, but as an opportunity to learn and grow. Discipline, in this light, is not a rigid cage. It is the compassionate structure that allows you to safely explore your inner world, leading you to the kind of profound self-knowledge that is the ultimate source of freedom and peace. Lesson 10. Discipline, not desire, shapes destiny. We all have desires. We want happiness, success, love, and peace. These desires are natural and human. They can point us in a positive direction, like a compass needle pointing north. However, desire alone is powerless to change our reality. It is a wish, a hope, a dream for a different future. But a wish has no substance. It is discipline, the consistent, intentional action we take every single day that gives substance to our hopes and transforms them into our lived reality. Ancient spiritual paths teach a simple but profound law of cause and effect. Our actions of body, speech, and mind are the seeds that create our future experiences. This means that our destiny is not a pre-written script handed down to us by fate. It is the path we are actively forging with every choice we make. A life shaped by desire is a life of waiting. It waits for motivation to strike, for circumstances to be perfect, for inspiration to arrive. It is a passive existence, often filled with frustration when the world doesn't conform to its wishes. A life shaped by discipline, however, is an active one. It is a life of conscious creation. It understands that the power to change lies not in a distant future, but in the present moment and the choice to take one small, positive action right now. This is the ultimate form of empowerment. It is the recognition that you are the primary architect of your own life. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, compassion over anger, or effort over inertia, you are laying another stone on the path to the destiny you wish to create. It is a quiet, humble, and profoundly powerful process. You are not waiting for your life to happen to you. You are showing up, day by day, and through the steady, unwavering flame of your discipline, you are shaping your own becoming.